Hello, everybody. Happy October. And I've had a lot of interest in how I made my mummy head right here and hand. So I can't really do one for you on camera because my arthritis is too bad and it took me a long time to do this because I can only work a little bit at a time. But I will walk you through it and you'll be able to make your own, no problem. So what I did was I went to Dollar Tree and I got a package of these skulls. You got 8. And then I also got a package of palm bones, they're called. But you don't need these. You can get any kind of little plastic skulls or hands. I'm sure they're available at a lot of different stores, especially because it's Halloween right now. So, and we're gonna move these off to the side. I'll keep one out of each. Just one. Okay. You're gonna need a paintbrush. It could be, this is just from Dollar Tree. You could use a foam brush. I think you'd have to use some kind of a brush. Unless you're going to use spray adhesive, and I don't think that would work. I think you have to use glue. At least the way I did it. I think you need regular glue. I just have Elmer's. I also got this at Dollar Tree. You don't need Elmer's. You can have any kind of glue. All right, so I can't squeeze it out because of my arthritis. So I just open the lid and put a blob in there. All right. And I just use a disposable bathroom cup. You could use a paint tray. You could use anything. Okay, this is going to be kind of messy and it gets really sticky. So if you don't like sticky glue all over your hands, maybe you want to wear gloves. Okay, let's see. The twine I use just to make a hanger for my hand and skull. You could use anything, a ribbon, whatever you got on hand. I just had this on hand. Now, the skulls do not have a hole on the top. They have a hole in the bottom, not sure why. But what I did, oh, I forgot, I need one other thing here. You're going to need an X-Acto knife. Now, I tried to use more of a craft one and it wasn't quite heavy duty enough, but it also might have to do with my hand pressure. So you just need some kind of a knife. And I just picked a spot on top of his head. Let's see. Whoops. Probably about right here. And I just stuck my knife in. And you just go like this until you make a hole. Now you could use a drill. My husband was going to drill it for me, but he was at work and I was too impatient. So I just got out my craft knife to see if it would work. And I had that hole made in just a minute. All right, you don't want to make a very big hole. See, now I've already made too big of a hole. And then you have to get some of these little eye hooks. I think that's what they're called. If you can see, I don't think I can get it to focus. It's so tiny. It has little screw. It's like a screw. But you have to make your hole small enough that you can then screw this in. Now see, I made the hole too big. And it's just going to fall out. It actually might even fit. Look at this. See that hole? That's about the size you need. Now, well, that's even maybe too big. It stays in there. I can pull it back out, but you get the idea. You got to make a hole. So I guess it's good if you have a bag of skulls. So if you mess one up, you can just go grab another one. So you need a smaller hole. But I also had a bigger thing. If you can see on this one, I had a bigger one. I don't have a bag of these to show you. These are the only 2 I have left. But you can get them You can probably get them at a craft store, but I bought mine at like Lowe's or Home Depot, and you just get a bag. They're probably cheaper there. Now, if you're really strong, you can probably just take the screw and screw it right through the plastic head, but I wasn't able to do that with my hands. Let me try another one, and let me try to make the hole small enough. Let's see if I can do it. This is just such a tiny one. I don't think it needs much. Yep. See, I hardly poked it through, and then this is just going to screw right in. All right, there you go. Now, if you're worried about it pulling out, this feels pretty tight. You could always just put some glue around there. All right, I kind of made a mess here. All right, I've never done a tutorial like this, so on camera, so give me some grace here. All right, so we've got that in there. I don't have another one, so I can't do one on the hand, but these hands come, and again, I don't think it'll focus. These hands come with a little tiny hole in them, but there's nothing that you could actually get through that little hole. I don't even think maybe one little piece of thread might fit through there. But again, I just took this, and for this one, it's a little bit harder. So I made the hole bigger on that side, and then I flipped it over and made it bigger. And then I was able to get my string through it. Now this cord is pretty thick, so if you used a smaller, thinner string, you wouldn't have to make your hole as big. All right, so let's put that aside. All right, so the next thing you need is some scrap paper to work on so you don't get your desk all dirty, and I just use a magazine, and as it gets sticky, I just fold it over or rip it off and throw it away. All right, so now I have some of this already done, but I'm also going to do a piece for you so you can see how I did this. Now, this is gauze that I got out of our box of bandages and Band-Aids and stuff. I'm sure you can probably pick this up. I looked for it at Dollar Tree and I couldn't find it. Walmart, your supermarket, it's just bandage to wrap up to wrap around like a pad. If you have a large cut or something, I'm not even sure why I have it, but this is what I did. Now I used one big square of this to do these two. So you don't need much, and these come in like a whole pack of pads. So I lay it out. I actually think I might have folded it, done it like this, and I took ink. Now this is not permanent, so it takes longer to dry. That's why I have a piece here that I can use, because it needs to dry if it's not permanent. Otherwise, you're going to get it all over your hands, but it'll wash off. So I just take my ink pad like this, and I just rub it on here. And whatever it does, you know, it tears it, it moves it. It just makes it all look cooler. So you don't have to worry about that. You can put as much on or as little as you want. You could use any kind of ink. It wouldn't even have to be brown. I just chose that. I thought it looked good. Oh. So my pad is kind of dry. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it might take a little bit longer if your ink pad's kind of dry. So you get the idea. So there it is colored, and there it is white. And then what I did, so we would leave this dry. It probably takes like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes to dry. And once it's dry, you can, you know, it's easier to handle. I think this is 2. Yes, this is 2. It's not really done. Oh, I didn't do that side. Well, it doesn't matter. All right, so then you take your scissors and you just cut some strips. Now, as you're cutting this, it's going to kind of fall apart. So you got to be a little gentle with it. And you can make them as thin or as thick as you want. These are probably okay. I'm not sure, maybe I made them thinner. Well, we'll just try it and see what happens. This might be a good width, this more thinner part. So then you take your skull and you take your paintbrush and your glue. And now what I did was I covered the whole head in glue, which was very messy. So I'm gonna start by just doing the top here because I can't do a whole one for you on camera because my hands will be hurting way too bad. I might even have to take a break while I'm doing this. So you can see I just put on a bunch of glue, and you can always add more, so it doesn't really matter. Then I started at the top. I think you can start wherever you want. And I just stuck it on, and you're gonna have to stick your fingers in the glue. And I just wrapped it around. There, he kind of looks like a pirate. And I just wrapped it around, and then you see where it's not really sticking? I just went and got more glue, and I just painted glue right on top. And I put tons of glue on mine by the time it was done, and it did take a little while to dry, but it dried perfectly. Okay, so there you get the idea, and you just keep doing that. And see, you can put one over like that and just put it right through there. Then you start wrapping around down there. Gonna need some more glue. We're just gonna glue it on. Okay, and then you just keep doing that. Now for the face, I'm gonna show you how I did the face. Let's bring him over here. If you can see, there's still some of it across his eyes and across his mouth. I wanted the eyes to show and the mouth to show, but not like there was nothing over it. I wanted a little bit of the gauze over it. And you can see there's a little bit of skull showing through, like under here. I didn't really worry too much about the bottom, but you could put more layers on. You can put as many layers on as you want. I'll show you across the eyes how it works. My hands are doing pretty good. It's a little tricky when you're doing the face. Whoa, that's a lot of glue. It's a little tricky, but you just kind of play with it. Okay, I just went right over the eyes like that, and I probably did it a couple of times. Let's cut this. And I'll put another one over the eyes. There, that's probably about what I did on mine. So 2 layers, more glue. And then after it dried, I'll show you what I did. So this is still very sticky, and it kind of pulls off in your hands, and you just have to, so maybe you can go wash your hands, let it dry a little bit if it's like too messy for you. But after it dried, I think I took the end of a paintbrush. It was like this one, and I just kind of went in there and just kind of pulled it away from the eyes a little bit, and I left some of it. You could probably just use your finger. And there you go. The mouth took a little bit of extra care, because a little bit of extra time, because you got to wrap around the chin. But as you can see, it doesn't take very long. This one's almost finished. I probably could go ahead and finish it since my hands are doing okay. Let me take a break. I'm gonna go wash my hands and cut some more of this, and then we'll wrap this guy up. Okay, I'm back. I washed my sticky fingers and I cut some smaller strips, and I'm gonna pick him up, and we're gonna cover his chin and mouth with glue. And then we're just gonna wrap. So just put on the wrapping Oops, I need to be in camera. I'm sorry. This is the first time for me. So if you're wondering why I'm doing a mummy, it's because I'm actually doing a whole like smash book glue book about mummies. So that's where I got the idea to make charms for my book. But you can also hang these in your car, from your mirror. You could, I actually have mine hanging. Let me show you if I can. I have mine hanging on some branches that are in a jar on my desk, and the skull is actually so creepy hanging there. I don't even like to look at it. So it actually came out much better than I thought it would. So I'm very happy about that. All right. And don't worry if there's all kinds of little pieces sticking out. You can use more glue and glue them down, or you can just let them hang and it looks more real, because mummies are usually like losing some of their wrappings. Oop, I didn't get his chin down there yet. All right. Now, I guess I need one more piece to do his chin. So we'll cut a little bit more here. As you can see, a lot, oh, that's not very dark. Let me get a darker piece. This goes a little bit of this goes a long ways. Like I said, you got to be willing to get your hands sticky to do this. Now, see, I'm just going to go around while I'm working and add some more glue, because when you're touching it, it's kind of pulling the glue. It's kind of pulling the gauze up. I guess that's what you call this stuff, gauze. You could probably find something else to use besides this gauze. You might even be able to buy something colored. I was in Michael's today and I was looking at some of the stuff they had in there that might have even worked, but their stuff was so expensive, guys. All right, now, I'm not too worried about the underneath part of this guy's skull, but we do want to get him covered on top. So, all right. That's kind of too white. Hey, I could just use the, that's another thing. If it's not dark enough, or it's not dark where you want it, there, just rub it on while it's on the skull. All right, we need some more glue. I need a lot of glue to make that stick down there. Okay. I'm going to try to hold it by that. Now, there's a little bit of skull showing up there, so you just put on as many layers as you want. It's totally up to interpretation and how you want to do it. All right, now let's see how his face is looking. I think that's pretty good. We might have to dig the eyes out a little bit more, and we have to open up his mouth a little bit, but I think he's pretty good. So let's sit him off to the side and maybe let him dry for a few minutes. And I'm gonna go wash my hands again, and then we'll talk some more. Okay, while he's drying, I'm gonna move this out of the way, and we're gonna bring over the two that are finished. And I'll talk a little bit about how I did the hand. Now, I feel when I did this hand, I thought I was gonna put more on, because the hand's a little trickier because you gotta get in between the fingers. And I had problems with the points of the fingers poking through. And then this, where you can actually see all the way through it. And I thought, oh, I need to put more on there. But as it dried and I hung it up, I thought it was creepier and cooler like this. So I'm just leaving mine just exactly the way it is. Actually, I'd like to just have something covering that maybe a little bit. But you can cover it, put as many layers on it as you want. And you see, once it's dry, it's very stiff and hard. And it doesn't come off, it doesn't unravel if you put enough glue on. If you find that you've got pieces that are loose, just add some more glue after it dries. And you can always take your ink pad and put more on if you don't think it has enough color. All All right, and here we'll take a closer look at this one that's done. And I just kind of dug out the mouth, a little bit of bone showing through, a little bit of chin, which isn't really a big deal. Now I am going to use these as charms on my book, but I'm not going to put on my book until I'm finished making it because I think they'll just be too much in the way. But let me go get my book for a second. If you've been following my channel, I have at least 2 or 3 videos up about my book. And I just decided that I wanted to make a book about mummies in Egypt. So that's how this all started. And you can watch those to see all my pages that I've completed so far. And so what I'm planning on doing is when I'm finished, this is a wire-bound book. So what I will do, I will just take this and I will thread that through there. And then I will go like this. And then there is my mummy head on my book. So I think that's going to be really good. And I'll do the same with the hand. So that will just be hanging on the side of my book. And I think it's going to look really cool. And you can hang them wherever you want. Like I said, right now they're hanging on those branches in my studio and they're really creeping me out. All right, let's take a look. Before I let you go, I think hopefully I've explained this and hopefully it wasn't too confusing and you could follow it. Like I said, I've never done anything like this before for YouTube or anywhere. Now he's still very wet. Looks like he could use a little bit more color there. Let's see if we can dig out his eyes a little bit more because I did cover them over. And then let's see if we can get his mouth to show. Let's see. Yeah, you want to do this while it's still wet. There we go. What do you think, guys? This one's actually creepier than my first one. So I hope you've enjoyed this. And I think I'm just going to put him in the sun in the window and he will dry. And I'm going to give him to my sister-in-law as a gift who loves Halloween. So I hope you enjoyed this. And please like and follow me if you want to see more of the different crafts. And I do smash books, glue books, I do drawing, I do painting, and I do fun stuff like this. So thanks for watching. Love you guys. Bye.